Another Dooley Noted Podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Another Dooley Noted Podcast. We are here, of course, as always, presented by Titan MRI from the Melton Law Gator Studios here at Steve Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. And, of course, Coach Spurrier will be joining us again today. And I know he's going to want to talk about the British Open, but it's still going to be my lead. On Friday, remember on last Friday, we talked about Richard Johnson winning the Rising Star Award, the Ed Ashoff Rising Star Award. And I talked about how important that was to me. Ed was a very good friend of mine. Actually was watching something last night, and he was on it, and it made me kind of emotional. I miss that guy so much. But Richard won that award, and it is actually at SEC Media Days, so we'll get him on Friday to talk about his impressions about SEC Media Days. People keep asking me, do I miss it? And I go, yeah, that part of me kind of does. There's things, I can think about things I miss, and then I watched Commissioner Sankey, who's been on the show. I love him. He's a great guy. I watched Brian Kelly. I don't love him. He's not a great guy. And then I was like, thank God I'm not there. It is so boring, and I think it's going to end up being boring. We're going to have our little mini media day here at the end of our hand law starting lineup, and we'll do that right now, the hand law starting lineup. And, of course, it's always presented to you by Hand Law, a Florida law firm which helps clients with government. You can learn more about Hand Law by visiting its website at www.hand.law. Let me say that again. www.hand.law. The firm is available for consultation in Jacksonville. Had some great discussions with Chris Hand over the weekend about everything that was going on. It kind of was a fun weekend, and all I kept thinking about, though, is how it's July 18th. Today is July 18th, I believe. We're not that far from football season. However, I will say this. To say that SEC Media Days is the beginning of college football season is a myth. From the time Billy Napier gets on that plane to come back to Gainesville on the UAA plane out in lovely Birmingham, Alabama, well, lovely Hoover. I don't even know if they have an airport in Hoover. They have no sidewalks. I know that. From that time, there'll be 44 days till the opener. That's still a long time to say this is the beginning of college football. I've never bought into that, but it's a good speed bump. And let's get to the Hand Law starting lineup. And I do want to start with the British Open. And I know that everybody wants to call it the Open Championship. It's the British Open. If I say the Open, you're thinking U.S. Open because you live in the U.S. That's the biggest reason. You live in the United States, that it's the United States Open. You don't even have to say that. They have an Open. We have an Open. Theirs has got way more history. I will say this. I've lived a long life, and I've watched a lot of golf. That was as much fun as I've had watching golf for a weekend. I was a vegetable for a good full 2 days. I mean, I didn't watch a lot of it on Thursday or Friday. I watched a little bit here and there. But Saturday, I watched the entire – I got up at 6:30. But my wife was having a garage sale, and so I got up at 6:30 to help her with that, and so she goes, "No, I don't need your help. I'm going to go back to sleep for a little while." I go, "Okay, well, I'm going to watch the Open." So I watched it all day, and then all day Sunday, and I literally was I had my shoes on, and I was like, if Rory McIlroy doesn't chip this in on the last hole, I'm bolting and I'm getting to a golf course somewhere and hit balls. I gotta play golf. That's how much it affected me. But it was so much fun. By the way, I've learned that the Rory McIlroy follow through, which is beautiful, it's the most beautiful follow through in golf, in my opinion. I tried it and I really worked on it, and I did hit the ball a little bit further, and it worked okay. I didn't hit it straight, but I hit it further. The Cameron Smith staring down the hole. He stares down the hole like this. Then he looks back and putts. That doesn't work for me. But, there's a novel idea here. They practice it. They practice all these things instead of just showing up and saying, I'm going to do this. It's going to work great for me. I told my wife, I said, if I could drive it like Rory and putt it like Cameron Smith, I wouldn't even need to play iron shots. And she goes, yeah, if you could run like Herschel Walker, you could have been an NFL player. Yeah, I know. Okay, you're right, Karen. It was awesome. DJ's putt going in the bunker. I mean, that was unbelievable. The shot on 17, I can't wait to get the coach in here because I want to talk to him about the putt on 17 for Cameron Smith, who, by the way, was my pick to win the Open. I want that on the record. On the record. Tammy, it's on the record, right? Okay, it's on the record. I picked him to win it. And the reason I picked it was because I said it's going to be low scoring because there's so many drivable par fours. Par fives is only 2, but they're both reachable. And this guy doesn't miss putts. That's what happened. We'll talk to Coach a little bit more on that. I thought it was just awesome. I thought the whole week was awesome. The history of it. I'm not saying the next British Open is going to be awesome. I'm just saying this one was. And that gets us to number 2. The British Open is not for everyone. And in fact, it's not a great TV event at all because with those fairways, and I'm trying to think what color the fairways are. Are they kind of beige rust? That kind the ball, you can't find the ball half the time. The announcers can't. The announcers are going there. Yeah, he said it. This is bearing to the right, and then they showed the overhead view, and they go, there it is. Literally, that happened a few times during the tournament. So it's not for everybody. The pot bunkers, which I love that they name all their bunkers. Come on, man. The stroke bunker is the greatest name ever for a bunker because it's gonna cost you a stroke, and you might have a stroke. So I love that name I loved everything about it. And again, like I said, St. Andrews, if I could do anything over again, it would be go back in time a year and say, let's go to St. Andrews for the 150th Open. I wish I'd done it. I feel bad that I didn't because I never even thought about it. So it's not like I didn't, but it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. I thought it was great. I would have loved to have been there, and I've got a little bit more on that later on the Hester and Kipke 3 things, by the way. All right, so number 3 on our hand law starting lineup. Let us do an SEC Media Days. I mean, it started today with Brian Kelly. So here's where we'll start is with what happened today so far when I was watching it. And, Greg Sankey gave his State of the Union, not a lot to it. He said, look, he told the coaches in Destin, it's never going to be the same. You guys have, but it doesn't have to be like it is. And I think he basically told them, shut up. Don't talk about each other's NILs. Don't talk about each other. We got to be united in trying just to be the best conference and go win the games. Stern warning from Dad is what it was. He did talk a little bit about, that they can't continue like this. They're gonna have to get congressional help. But for the most part, there wasn't a whole lot. And I think this will be one of the least interesting media days in terms of news. Now, you're not going to ever repeat what you had last year, where all of a sudden Texas and Oklahoma are, guys are in there doing interviews with people, and they're going, there's all this noise outside, and they're like, Texas and Oklahoma are joining the SEC. Forget this interview I was doing with the tight end from LSU or whatever. But so we'll see. I mean, no sense of urgency. He talked about a lot. And the other thing the newsworthy thing really that happened last night, and where Anthony Richardson said, hey, no more AR-15. I'm not doing it anymore on my branding. It's smart. It was kind of one of those things that made, I think, even people who like him a little uncomfortable. And as it got closer to SEC Media Days and he was going to go, why not be able to answer those questions the right way instead of the wrong way? And I think that's the bottom line. I don't think It's just my opinion, and you guys may not agree with me, and some of you won't. Some of you will say, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, with him being called AR-15, with a scope on his jersey or his shirts he's wearing. Personally, I don't think that's a good idea right now, and the things that have been going on in this country. But that was a big story, and he'll get asked a lot about that. I think they're Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday is Florida, and he'll get asked a lot about it. But in my opinion, great decision. All right, let us go with number 4 here on Hand Law 3 Things, or Hand Law starting lineup. Okay. Yeah, I'm only going to screw up 4 times today. That's my goal, okay? We got Tammy is a new producer. She's doing great. I'm only going to screw up 4 times. You'll screw up none. I'll screw up 4 times. Okay. So the Hand Law starting lineup number 4 is the players I think are going to be all SEC. And again, does it matter? No, of course it doesn't. Nobody's gotten a certificate in their life or a plaque or even a pat on the back for being named all SEC preseason. But when you look at it, and Florida's had a real run of not having players. In fact, that may be something I go back and look at. In the last, well, since 2010 maybe, how many players have been on the first team All-SEC from Florida? It's not a big number, I can tell you that. Martez Ivey, I think, was a couple of times, but, he was in my opinion, he was kind of an okay player. He wasn't great. He wasn't all SEC, but he had the name. And I really think there's only one guy with even a shot, and that's Jervon Dexter. He has certainly promoted himself very well. He's certainly talented. He's certainly physically gifted. He might be the only guy that gets on the first team. But, again, this doesn't mean Florida has a bad team. It means there's a lot of great players out there in this conference. This conference is just loaded with great players. Think about the defensive ends, and we'll see. I would think that I think Ventrell Miller and maybe Garage, maybe Brenton Cox could get on the second team. Again, does it matter? No. But it's not going to be – Florida's not going to have a lot of people on there. It's going to be Alabama players, Georgia players, and well-known players that have not achieved maybe to the best of their ability. But it'll be interesting to see. Finally, on our Hand Law starting lineup, and again, thanks again to Chris Hand for being a great sponsor. We're going to talk about some other ones a little bit later, but here are my picks. I thought about this a long time, and I looked at schedules. In the West, I'm going to stunningly go with Alabama. Boy, that way to go out on a limb there. I got Arkansas second. Even though they've got the tougher schedule than LSU, I think LSU third, A&M fourth. I'm not buying A&M, and I think a lot of people aren't. Here's a dangerous thing. Nobody's buying A&M, so maybe that'll inspire them to be better. I don't want them to be good. I don't want them to be any good at all. I just don't. I don't like Jimbo. Ole Miss fifth. Think about that. If Ole Miss is the fifth best team in your division, you're playing some awesome football. Auburn sixth. And then Mississippi State 7. I got Georgia winning the East, not shocking. I had Tennessee second and Florida third, but now I've decided to flip-flop Kentucky and Tennessee. Looking at Kentucky's schedule, it really works out well for them. If they get by Florida, they're the only team that can knock off Georgia. South Carolina, I don't think they're going to play as good as they did last year. And then Missouri and Vanderbilt. The funny thing about South Carolina and Tennessee is everybody goes, and I even wrote about it. I go, whoa, the momentum these teams have. They both went 7-6 last year. That's momentum. The team that went 6-7 from the state had one of its worst years ever. Well, it wasn't the worst, but it was a bad year. Nobody has no momentum. All right. That's our Hand Law starting lineup. We appreciate Hand Law so much. We'll take a break here, and then we'll come back with Coach Spurrier, who, of course, is presented by Meldon Law. We are Another Dooley Noted Podcast from the Meldon Law Gator Studios, presented by Titan MRI.
Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Another Duly Noted podcast comes to you from the Coaches Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Celebration Point. You can watch and listen to us on Facebook and YouTube for every podcast that we do on Mondays and Fridays at 2 o'clock. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, any of the other 39 platforms where you can find this podcast or your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below or call me if you want to do some advertising at 352-317-3444.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from Another Dooley Noted Podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place like this?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life. And the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
All right, we are back here on Another Duly Noted Podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. And, of course, Meldon Law also the sponsor of Coach Spurrier's appearances here. That's why we got our Meldon Law cute shirts on.
Meldon Law.
Yep, that's right. First, I got to ask you about the British Open this weekend, which I was riveted. I watched like 12 hours of golf. And the one thing that stood out to me was that putt on 17 for Cam Smith, where he goes around the bunker and he puts it up there within 12 feet and he goes, "I'll make that." It reminded me of Kirby Smart with that Georgia defense. He goes, "We'll go for it on fourth down because you can't score on us anyway."
Yeah, the announcer said the best he can possibly do is get a 10, 12-footer.
Yeah.
And that's where he got it. And then he was making everything just like he did the tournament at Sawgrass.
TPC, yeah.
Just he poured them right in the middle, just perfect speed and so forth. But yeah, Rory McIlroy, I think he hit 18 greens, two-putted every one.
Two-putted every green,
shot
yeah.
2 under.
I think he said he two-putted 32 consecutive greens.
The day
Think
before.
about that, yeah.
Yeah. He just didn't make a lot of putts. That's the only reason he didn't win the tournament, because he hit the ball beautifully. But yeah, that Cam Smith is a putting machine now. hard their team has worked throughout the summer. What a great bunch of kids they have, and we're gonna
worked harder than you ever worked, right?
Yeah.
Every year,
hardest working bunch,
hardest working team I've ever had.
Our coaches have put in extra time getting our guys ready, blah blah blah. But everybody's upbeat right now. Everybody's undefeated, and it really be interesting. Of course, the media guys, when they pick how the teams are going to finish, of course it's Alabama and Georgia. Everybody knows that. But after that, it's sort of interesting, I think. They don't have a lot of respect for us. We're already down to 5th in the East. South Carolina is even ahead of us. Missouri and Vandy are the only 2 teams we're ranked ahead preseason. And that means Billy Napier and the guys can show those guys that they are terribly wrong, and we got a good ball team that's going to play our tails off and beat a bunch of people this year. So I'm really
there's a level of optimism around people that are around Billy.
Yeah.
That they go, look, this guy knows what he's doing. He's going to get it done.
Yeah. This team's
it's a tough schedule. It's a tough schedule.
Yeah, it is a good schedule. But I really believe that this team's going to play with effort that we haven't quite seen the last year or so. And Anthony Richardson, by the way, no longer does he want to be called AR-15. I think that's a smart move. That probably was one of the worst things ever invented, those assault rifles. You just don't need them except to kill a whole bunch of people.
Exactly.
And if we had any sense in America, we'd collect them as fast as we could. But the gun people seem to have control, and they think it's okay for crazy people to own them, which is sad.
I'm glad that he did it. I don't know why it took him so long to figure that out. His camp, but at least he did that. I mean, you don't want to be associated with that, especially with the
latest
with a
assault
scope
rifles,
on the shirts and stuff like that. But I'm sure he'll get a lot of questions about that when he speaks there. But how many SEC media days did you do? Because you did 12 at Florida, and what?
10 or 11 at South Carolina. Yeah, something like that.
That's a lot of media. That may be the record, or maybe Saban's. You and Saban
He's
are
close.
Yeah.
But anyway, 1990, my first year, we went up there, and I was sort of optimistic.
Was that Sheraton?
It was in Alabama.
Birmingham? I think it was a Sheraton, right?
It was the same place. I think they did it for so many years till they moved it to Atlanta
Hoover.
just recently.
Well, they moved to Hoover,
Yeah. But anyway, I was optimistic about our team, and a lot of people thought, who is this loudmouth kid from Duke? He won a few games at Duke, and he thinks he's going to win in the mighty SEC. But I told him, we got a good team. What's your goals? I said, our goal is to win the SEC because we got a team capable. If we didn't have players capable, I would have said our goal was to have a winning season and go to a bowl game. Isn't that what you're supposed to say?
Yeah, exactly.
That would have a winning season, go to a bowl game. But that team was capable, the 90 team, and they went out and won it. Had a 6-1 record, which was the best in the conference, and set the tone and paved the way for the other teams to start winning.
What was the difference between when you went in 1990 and when you went to the last one in terms of the room, the media, how many there were? And I mean, back in 90, there probably weren't a whole lot there, but I mean,
there might be more national writers that come nowadays, but it was a good full house because the writers from all over the SEC. We had not added South Carolina and Arkansas yet. They came in 92. So it was a little bit less, but it's still a full house.
Every once in a while there'd be news there. I remember the one big story was that you had just signed $1 million deal, first $1 million coach in college football.
Yeah, that's true. What year was that?
92, 3? No, later
than that. Probably 96 or 7.
Yeah, and Matt Hayes had the story, and you were kind of waiting for us to ask you about it. We didn't know it was out there. And you go, Matt, I guess they don't read the Florida Times again.
No big deal. Now they got nutrition ladies making $1 million, I think. No, I was just kidding. But all the coordinators make over $1 million almost I think they
crazy.
paid Auburn paid Mike Bobo $3 million a year to be the coordinator, and gave him a 3-year deal, and then fired him before the first year was out.
Yeah.
That's how they treat money nowadays.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
No, it's not a big deal.
And you probably, had to fight to get your assistants money, both at Florida and South Carolina, just to get them a little bit more money, because you want to keep them. You don't want to
Yeah,
lose them.
we just try to stay in line with what everybody around the conference was making. Most of the schools will do that.
How did you get along with all the coaches? You barely saw them at media days because you guys are running. People don't know how crazy it is there, where you're running from one room to the next room and the next room and the next room.
Yeah, you might see one coach or two that day you're there, but not a long time. So we all got along pretty well, I think. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. I'm sure that's part of your job you don't miss, SEC media days.
That's just part of the day. It wasn't
Actually, you
the
went
first
like
year,
2 years ago, right?
Let me tell you the first year. So the first year, Norm Carlson says they have a media golf scramble. You want to play in it? I said, yeah, I guess so. me and you and who else? He said, it'll be me and you and the two people from the potato chip company. What's the name of it? That advertised
Golden Flakes.
Golden Flakes.
Yeah,
Golden
Golden
Flakes. So the guy and the lady Julie and Norm and I, and we won the dang thing.
Really?
And that's Norm Carlson. That's his highlight today of his golf career. We got a nice little trophy. We won the media day scramble, shot 11 or 12 under. So I see all the coaches the next day there, and I said, how come you didn't play in the media scramble? They all said, oh, man, if our fans knew I was playing golf, they'd get mad at me. I said, you got to be kidding. So I was the only one out there playing in it that first year. So then I learned, well, maybe I need to act like I'm working real hard the day before.
Well, yeah, because I actually never played in it for a long time, and then I said, this year I'm taking my clubs, I'm going to play in it, and I won it that year. So you and I are the dominant guys
and Norm
at the
Carlson
media.
and I, we talk about that almost every time we see each other because, like I said, that was his highlight on the golf course.
Yeah, it's well. I've talked a lot about Anthony Richardson, both on the radio and podcast and all the stuff that I'm doing, but the potential's here. But think about the pressure that is on him because he's a local kid. But I've never seen this much pressure on a player who is succeeding somebody who's not that popular. Nobody's going, we want Emory back. How hard was it for Jackie Ekdahl succeeding you, for Doug Johnson succeeding Danny, for John Brantley succeeding Tebow? That was hard, but it seems like it's the same kind of pressure on him.
Well, AR succeeding Emory?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Emory is not the most popular quarterback
That's what I'm saying.
we've ever had here.
That's what I'm saying, but there's still all this pressure because the expectation's so high.
Well, the expectations on Anthony Richardson should be very high because this kid has got God-given talent that he needs to use, and he knows that. And in fact, I had a little talk with him one day about that.
Did you?
I said, you have ability, and you got to use it. Yes, sir, yes, sir. So I think he knows he's at a different stage in his life, really.
Yeah.
And he's going to try to be a good leader and rally the guys. That means he's got to hustle in practice. And he'll get to run wind sprints after practice with the guys because Billy Napier is going to have a team that everybody's going to run. They're going to be in tip-top shape, be accountable to each other. So I'm really anxious to watch this team play.
I was thinking about Florida opening with Utah, which obviously in Utah, it's not going to be, 98 with 98% humidity. And so even though it's a 7 o'clock game, it's going to be really humid. It's going to be tough. And that's what it's great for Florida. It's an advantage. In your day, you guys would always play Illinois and Northwestern that first game, and they came down here. They would just wilt, didn't they?
Well, a little bit if we had day games, but we did play at night a lot early in the season, so I don't think that was a huge factor. But what's interesting, I was watching the Weather Channel maybe today, and of course the heat waves. We don't have heat waves in Florida. No. The highest we are today is like 89 or 90, 88, 89, 90. And up in Alabama, I think in Fargo, North Dakota, they're having 100 degrees today. So the heat waves, for some reason, are not really what we get. We get a little humidity, of course, but the people north of us, they're not used to it. And they're going to have maybe some hotter games even than we have. But we got to go play and play well to beat Utah. We know that. And Utah's a good team. But Oklahoma in the Rose Bowl, I'm sorry, Ohio State.
Yeah.
Looked like Oklahoma going up and down the field. But Ohio State had a field day throwing the ball against them. So we'll find out if we can pitch it around the way they did.
This is a question I've got. I'm going to give Robbie a little bit later on yes, no way, or maybe. But what do you think more likely to happen? Georgia repeats or Bryce Young repeats? Because for the Heisman guys, it's hard to repeat because there's only been one, and that's Archie Griffin.
Yeah, Bryce has the opportunity to repeat.
Yeah.
It's never been done except Archie Griffin, Ohio State. He's got a chance, but time will tell. Yeah, we thought Tebow would probably win another one.
He get the most first place votes the next year, and still lost.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, because there was a lot of people left him off their ballot. People look for a reason not to get the previous winner on if he's still playing. They look for an excuse not to. Like Jason White, I remember that one year. Everybody, he didn't win. He could have won 2 in a row. He had the same year. Same year, yeah.
Another good year. Yeah.
You only had obviously 65. Did you get Heisman votes to 65?
Well, I got a few. I was All-American. I had to get a few. I don't know.
You got a few.
But I wasn't in the top 2 or 3, I don't think. I don't know.
Yeah. And Heisman's around here somewhere. By the way, this trophy's still up here. Where is this going? We got to get that trophy somewhere.
Oh, that's the Nick Saban.
Yeah. It's
legacy
really a cool
legacy
trophy,
award.
yeah.
Eddie Robinson and I were awarded that Nick Saban trophy by the Birmingham Quarterback Club. So they wanted to have a trophy to give to a coach every year and put Nick Saban's name on it, which no one had yet. So it was very nice of them. And Nick Saban said a lot of nice things about me and Eddie Robinson at the event. So it was nice to be the first recipient of that.
I'm actually a big Nick Saban fan. I
am too.
Yeah,
I am too.
To do what he's been able to do and sustain it. I like when he gets a little ornery, sometimes. That's always fun.
Yeah. I've never seen a coach yet, except him, though, that complained because his recruiting class was number 2 instead of number 1.
I don't think you ever worried about it. Yeah.
Now, Nick he's a good person, an excellent coach. And he's had the number 1 recruiting class, I think, 12 out of 16 years. and the other year they were number 2, I think. But Texas A&M supposedly got most of the best players this past year. Now there's the pressure on Jimbo Fisher.
Oh, I know.
They haven't done much there.
But he's not. It's not like he's got any chance of getting fired because the buyout is like $80 million. So
no, he's guaranteed whatever he got. And but anyway, he's a good coach. But he lost 4 games last year.
Yeah.
But he beat Alabama.
Lost to Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Which,
so the reporters were all talking about how he finally beat Alabama and he's got the upper hand on them. Well, wait a minute. Alabama won the SEC last year. Some people seem to think because they lost to A&M and their receivers got hurt and they lost to Georgia that they had a bad year. They're SEC champs. To me, there's not a huge difference. If you can win the SEC or the National, I really look at both of them pretty even, in my opinion.
all right, before we let you go, you've talked about this and you've talked about it before. You're kind of bullish on this Gator football team. You think they're going to be better than a lot of people think?
Well, I just think that we'll play with more effort. We'll be accountable. Stupid things. We won't be throwing shoes off the field, things like that, Guys will be rooting for each other. Pre-game warm-ups will be different. They'll be regimented, disciplined. Guys know where they go, bum, 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 bum. And I don't know why I'm talking about pre-game warm-ups, but
You didn't used to worry
I
about
didn't like the way we did pregame warm-ups. Guys out in T-shirts, guys. Of course, Anthony used to turn his flips, in pregame warm-ups.
Well, I think Mullen's theory was nobody's going to know what guys are out there warming up. And I just thought that was,
But Dan did awful well a couple of years.
Yeah,
we got to go back and say, hey, we were in the SEC championship game, almost beat Alabama, almost beat them here. But still, I think the attitude started at that LSU game a little bit. And then it just, I don't know what happened.
The funny thing is he brought Florida back, but then he couldn't sustain it. And that's the problem. The problem at Florida is it's been like this ever since
Well,
really Urban left. Yeah.
I think maybe we gave some of the players a little too much freedom.
Yep.
The defensive coaches made it, giving them a little too much freedom, and we just did not have discipline, accountability, effort, whatever you want to call it.
All right, Coach Spurrier, he'll be back again next Monday here on Another Duly Noted Podcast. We appreciate him, and we appreciate Meldon Law for bringing all of our segments with Coach Spurrier. We love him, and we love having him on the show. We'll be right back with a lot more, including a yes, no way, or maybe with Robbie Andrew and Hester and Kipke, Three Things, all the great stuff that we always do here on Another Duly Noted Podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Another Duly Noted Podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Celebration Point. You can watch and listen to us on Facebook and YouTube for every podcast that we do on Mondays and Fridays at 2 o'clock. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, any of the other 39 platforms where you can find this podcast or your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below or call me if you want to do some advertising at 352-317-3444.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tin Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from Another Duly Noted Podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place like this?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
and they were about to get married this week. They would have gotten married. And she's out there with him, and his family's out there with him. It's one of the most heartbreaking things I've ever dealt with. I think the only other one that would be close, I'm just talking about people I know, not people in my family, would be Ed Ashoff passing away. And again, we're going to have Richard Johnson, who was the Ed Ashoff winner, on Friday. But it's really sad what's going on with Patrick, and anybody can do. I'm donating to the GoFundMe. We all should help him out. This is one of the great guys. If I could tell you a bad story about Patrick Young that would make you go, well, I don't know if I want to. No, I got none because he's a great guy. He's the best. I was so happy. He's been, of course, he's been on this podcast several times. He's been on our radio show. He's been on my tailgates. He's one of my favorite people in the world. And anything you can do to help, I know Karen and I are going to do that. And it's just a sad story, but hopefully, he's got the great attitude. Hopefully things are going to work out. And we'll see how that all goes. But anything you can do, again, if you go to, it's not hard. You just WRUF.com, you find the back nine. It's in there. If you need more information, send me a text. I'll send it to you. Send me an email. I'll send it to you. Okay. That is Hester and Kipke's 3 things. Sorry to end it on a down note there. Let us get to the Adams Ribco to Go Gator of the Week. And I surprisingly had a lot of choices. I was leaning kind of towards my man J.C. Deacon, depending on how he did in the Florida Open. He finished 5th. Was nothing wrong with that. They went low there too. They went low at the British Open. They went low at the Florida Open. But J.C. finished 5th. He's won that thing a couple of times. Great for him. Had a couple other guys. Billy Horschel was a guy I thought about who shot 9 under at the British Open, and good for him. But no, I went with the world champion, and that is Grant Holloway, who has been the Adams Ribco to Go Gator the week before, believe me. But Grant Holloway winning I think it was his 3rd straight 110-meter hurdles championship. What a tremendous athlete. I mean, you can run a list of athletes, and it's always kind of weird when you try to go, okay, these are the greatest athletes of all time at Florida. Well, Javon Curtis was as good an athlete as I was ever around, but is he a better athlete than Grant Holloway? Probably not. But the point is, the guy's unbelievable, a tremendous athlete. Maybe I've got his number. Maybe when he gets back from the World Games, the World Championships, we'll get him on the podcast. But he is our Adams Ribco to Go Gator of the weekend. Do we have Robbie on? Yes, we do have Robbie on. So let us get to yes, no, where, maybe. Robbie is joining us from on the Big Mills Cheesesteak Zoom line. And, of course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, fine dining or street dining done right. They are the sponsors of Yes, No, Where, Maybe as well. And here's Robbie. What's up, Robbie? Robbie?
Can't hear you, Pat.
I can hear you. Okay. You can hear me now?
I can hear you now, yeah.
Okay.
Loud and clear, buddy.
All right, here we go. Yes, no, where, maybe.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Maybe.
All right, number 1. Florida has no players on the first team All-SEC media team.
I'd say maybe based on what I've seen in the preseason publications where nobody's getting any love at all. But, Dexter, I think, should be on there.
Dexter's
Cox,
the only guy I think has a chance of being on there.
But I think Cox could be on there. If you look at his numbers last year, Pat,
Yeah.
I think he should be on there too, I think.
But right away, Will Anderson is going to be one end.
True.
That's the problem. This league is so stacked with players.
5-star talent all over the place.
Yeah. Are you missing not being there today?
I'll say maybe. Huh?
Are you missing not being there today?
No. Are you?
I was for a minute, and then
No way is my answer to that one. Seeing some of the hacks gather out there, it's like, oh, I'm glad I'm not there.
Yeah. once I listened to Commissioner Sankey, who I like a lot, and then Brian Kelly, I went, oh, thank God I'm not there.
Yeah, it's kind of drudgery to a point, Pat, where it goes on and on and on, and then at the end of the day, you've still got hours of writing ahead. So,
but
I really don't miss
then you get to the point where you can go out and have fun with a bunch of guys that you like.
Yeah.
I mean, a bunch of sports writers. So
Pat Bianchi's not going. He said the one thing he missed was going out afterwards with us to have beers. So I kind of feel the same way.
It was great. We used to go out. It was great. All right, number 2 on Yes, No, Where, Maybe, presented by Big Mills Cheesesteaks. There will be no big stories coming out of this SEC media days, unlike last year. Chris Doring today, he said the over-under is 0.5, which would mean if you bet there would be one big story. But he was taking the under. He doesn't think anything is going to happen. I tend to agree with him. What about you?
I'm going to say no way on that, Pat. I mean, all this stuff has been discussed to the point where nobody wants to talk about it anymore. But, people are going to come up with story ideas out there, but there's going to be no major news coming out of that at all, I don't think.
Yeah, I think
unless Vanderbilt is picked to win the East.
Well, that would be a story.
That would be huge, yeah.
Well, somebody will vote for Vanderbilt just so they can go, oh, look at me, I'm doing it. Actually,
yeah.
I was looking at Vandy's schedule today. It's not that hard. I mean, they could get 6.
They're Vandy, Pat. They're Vandy. Every schedule's hard.
That's a great point. All right. I asked Coach Spurrier this question a little bit earlier, and I'm going to present it to you on Yes, No, Where, Maybe, presented by Big Mills Cheesesteak. More likely to repeat, Georgia or Bryce Young?
I think Bryce Young, Pat. I mean, I think they.
He'd only be the second guy to do it ever.
Yeah, but they were young in certain spots last year on offense on the line. I think they're going to be better offensively. The question is he going to have the dynamic receivers that he had last year? But I think repeating as a national champion is really difficult, and the pressure's on Georgia now. The expectations are ridiculous up there. So I just have a feeling that Bryce Young. Everything's setting up for him to go back to back with the Heisman. So I'm going to say, he's going to be the guy that he's a better chance of him than Georgia repeating, even though Georgia will have a chance.
Yeah, well, the thing is, and I don't disagree with you, but we've had repeat champions. We've only had one repeat Heisman winner, and you and I were there in 2008 when the guy who got the most first place votes didn't win.
I know, that was stunning, wasn't it?
That was weird. In fact, I was telling Coach Spurrier about it. He goes, really? I said, yeah, that's what happened that year.
He won the popular vote.
He did. He didn't do well in the electoral college, though.
No, that was his problem. But
I guess
Archie Griffin's the only one, Pat?
What?
Is Archie Griffin the only one to go back to back?
Only one to go back to back. And
That's
really,
been a long time ago.
When you look at the stats, it wasn't like the greatest 2-year career of anybody, but
no, it wasn't.
That he was so good and they were so good that they kind of went with him. By the way, that's a great trivia question. I once covered a game that had 5 Heisman Trophy winners in it.
But it had to be a pro game then. Yeah,
it was a USFL game.
Who was it?
All right, Doug Flutie, Herschel Walker, Mike Rozier, and Archie Griffin. There's 5.
So there you go.
Now Archie
Pretty
Griffin
amazing, the USFL.
By
the
that
USFL
time
was a lot different than this year.
It was bad this year. Archie was playing for the Jacksonville Bulls, and he was well past his prime. But
I forgot all about that, Pat. That he even went there.
5 Heisman winners. How about that? I got that. Yeah. I got that going for me, which is good.
You do.
All right, Robbie, we'll let you go. Appreciate your time on Yes, No, Where, Maybe.
I'll see you soon. Maybe.
Okay.
Okay, Pat. See ya.
Robbie, every time I ask him if he can do this on Monday, he always sends me a different joke. Like today it was, yes, make sure you send me the missing link. That's just Robbie. That's the way he is. All right. Let us get to our Leonardo's and Millhopper quick picks. And a lot of people qualified. We had the Horschel making the cut. There were a lot of people that guessed correct on that. He did end up shooting 9 under. And then we had the Red Sox Yankees, which the Yankees destroyed them. Red Sox, they're terrible. So we get a lot of people qualifying. We may have to actually pull a winner a little bit earlier than I thought. But our winner here is going to be very simple. You only have a day to do it. Who wins the All-Star game? So, that's not a hard question to answer. You either go East or West. No, you go National League or American League. I will be honest with you. I probably won't watch a whole lot of it. The All-Star game to me was great. It's not so great anymore. When they didn't play inter-league games, it was great. Oh my God, I get to see Roberto Clemente against, Jim Lolich or Jim Palmer. I meant to say that was big. Now they play like three weeks earlier. So anyway, so the Leonardo's at Millhopper quick picks, and I got to get over to Leo's to get some more gift certificates, $25 gift certificates for the winner of our Leonardo's at Millhopper quick picks. Who wins the All-Star game? It's not a complicated question. I want to wrap it up by bringing in 2 new sponsors. Welcome to 2 new sponsors. I think I got a third one that may be coming. We'll see if that happens. I don't want to get it too far ahead of that. And then we'll be done. We're not going to ask for any more sponsors. We'll be good. We got so many great sponsors. We love them so much. They keep this show going. But Eastlake Pediatrics, and we're going to have a great graphic and reader for that. They actually have their own podcast. Eastlake Pediatrics, which is down in the Pasco, Hillsboro, that area down there. They want to come on board because they love the podcast and they want to see if it'll be good advertising for them. Mike Jordan, who is Dr. Mike Jordan, they're pretty cool. They're doing something that we're going to call Pat Dooley Story Time, and we got graphics we're working on, and we're working on getting all that stuff, and I think it'll be fun. In fact, I had a great. I could do a quick one here, okay? Because I know that they're coming on board in August, but I'll do a quick one for you on Eastlake Pediatrics, Pat Dooley Story Time. And that is the year that I just followed Tim Tebow around to every room at SC Media. I think it was 2008. And I went around to every room. And most people knew me enough to let me in. They Pat Dooley. Wait, you can't come here. Oh, it's Pat Dooley. It's okay. I was kind of a big deal then. Not that big a deal. I was never a big deal. But so people would let me in. I think only one person said, no, you can't come in here. I can't remember where it was. But while I was out there, I was waiting with Tim, and I told him, I said, hey, Tim, this girl had a sign that said, all I want for my birthday is to meet Tim Tebow. And unfortunately, they shoved you in here, and she never got to show it to you. And he goes, get her up here. So I go, okay. So I go downstairs to the lobby at the Winfrey Hotel. I talked to the young lady and her mom, and I said, come on with me. So security let me pass. I go, they're going to see Tebow. We bring them all the way up. Tebow has this meeting with her, and in fact, our photographer was trying to get a picture of her, and he goes, no, this isn't about me getting pub. This is about me doing something for a little girl. I don't want pub. I don't want you taking my picture for this. You can take my picture all day. Don't take it about this. It's not what it's about. And talked to the little girl, made her day, and made a great column for me. I will say that. So that will be my story time for today. And then also the Gainesville Quarterback Club, which was on last year during football season, they're going to come back on during football season this year. So they'll start, but we're going to actually start in August so we can make sure that we tell you about all the great speakers they have. Of course, I speak every meeting during football season. I give a little 10-minute, try to give a little humor, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then I have great speakers that I introduce. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm a big believer in this club. It's great, great people, and so they're coming on board as well. And hey, I tell you, I'll do it quickly again. I ran a little long with Robbie there, but I was going to have Gainesville Quarterback Club just for this week sponsor the Power 5 and the bottom 3, which I guess we could use a sponsor for that. I'm going with just wins. Yankees 64, Dodgers 60, Astros 59, Mets 58, and the Braves at 56. That away, boys. The bottom 3, think about this. The Nats, they just won the World Series, 4 years ago? 31 wins at the break. The A's 32 and the Reds 34. Those are the bottom three. All right, so we got a lot of stuff to get to Friday. I can't wait for it. And Richard Johnson, as I said, is going to be our great guest who from ESPN, and of course the winner of the Ed Ashoff Rising Star Award. He is a rising star. There's no question about that. Tammy, what a job she did today. She dealt with adversity and came through. Adversity doesn't. What was Andy Lopez saying? Adversity doesn't build character; it reveals it. I think he stole that from somewhere. In fact, the other day I was talking, I was watching the SEC Saturdays in the South, and it was, I can't remember whether it was Saban or somebody back in the old days said, it's not about the next 4 years, it's about the next 40 years. That's what Napier's using now. It's his slogan. So, hey, everything's a cliche. Anyway, that's going to do it and we'll have fun Friday because a lot will come. We'll know where the media picked Florida and everything like that. That'll do it for our Another Dooley Noted Podcast, presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Thanks so much to Tammy. Thanks so much to Coach Spurrier for being here. Thanks so much to Robbie Andrew for coming on and doing Yes, No, Where, Maybe. We always love him doing that. And we'll get Robbie on again here as a guest for a whole segment a couple of weeks from now, probably. But again, we appreciate everybody. We love everybody. We just love everybody. But I know this. I got to get out of here. Tammy wants me done. Until next time, I am Pat Dooley for Another Dooley Noted Podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios, saying I'm deep, I'm way back, and I am out of here.